The battle for Pine Hollow Ranch. When I pulled up to my 10,000-acre Pine Hollow Ranch after a grueling month in Albuquerque, I expected the familiar hush of pine trees and the distant call of a coyote. Instead, I found a glossy sign nailed to my oldest cedar. Welcome to Sunset Valley Trail, a community nature experience. Tourists in fleece vests wandered my land, snapping photos of my grazing mules. A wooden bridge spanned the creek I'd dredged myself. This wasn't a mistake, it was an invasion. What started as trespassing would spiral into a war over property, pride, and a fire that nearly cost me everything. I'm Jack Thornton, a 52-year-old land surveyor who bought Pine Hollow 15 years ago for solitude and sanity. That June evening, as I parked my dusty F-250 near the barn, I couldn't believe my eyes. A dozen strangers strolled my pasture, some in matching shirts with a logo, Sunset Valley HOA. A woman with a clipboard gestured at the ridge like she owned it. Another, in a sun hat, smiled at me. "Are you the trail guide?" she asked. "No," I said, voice tight. "I own this land." Her smile faltered. "But this is the Sunset Valley Trail, right?" "The HOA said it's public." I scanned the group. A teenager was climbing my fence to pet a mule, nearly spooking it into the sagebrush. My blood boiled. "This is private property," I said louder. "You're trespassing." The clipboard woman stepped forward, adjusting her glasses. "Sir, this trail's part of our community access plan. Diane Kessler from the HOA said it's been open for years." Diane Kessler. The name meant nothing, but it lit a fuse in my gut. I told them to leave. Most shuffled off, muttering, but the audacity lingered. At the far fence, a wooden archway read, "Trail continues scenic loop." Back at my cabin, I dug out my deed. The boundary was clear. My land stretched to the creek, half a mile past where the HOA had carved their trail, complete with yoga platforms and meditation signs. They'd planned this. The next morning, I drove to the Sunset Valley HOA office, a polished barn with solar panels and a bear-shaped mailbox. Inside, Diane Kessler greeted me mid-40s, yoga-toned, clutching a laptop like a shield. "Mr. Thornton," she said, all smiles, "we're so grateful for the trail. It's brought families together, kids learning about wildlife." "I didn't give you permission," I cut in, standing firm. "That's my land." Diane sighed, like I was a child hoarding toys. "The trail's been used for years, Jack. Your absence invited community access. Legally, we might have a prescriptive easement." I stared, incredulous. She was claiming my land because I hadn't patrolled it daily? "Take down the signs," I said. "Remove the structures, or I'll sue." Her smile tightened. "That would be unfortunate. The trail's on our brochures, part of a state wellness grant." I walked out, already dialing a fencing contractor, Mike Vargas, a no-nonsense guy who'd built half the county's corrals. "I need a steel fence," I told him. "Eastern boundary, 10 gauge. No trespassing signs every 50 feet. Mike nodded. "Gonna ruffle some feathers." I grinned. "Good." The fence went up fast. Within hours, 2 signs were torn down. I bolted new ones, added trail cams, and caught 2 hikers gawking at the posts like nature had betrayed them. That night, I found a sign bent backward, boot prints trailing into the pines. These weren't stray hikers, they were organized. By dawn, a dozen HOA members in green shirts picketed my gate, waving signs. "Nature belongs to all." Diane stood center, filming, her voice booming. "One man is denying our community's heritage." A drone buzzed overhead. I stepped out, phone in hand. "You're on private land. Leave." Diane smirked. "This trail's been public for 7 years. We have rights." I called the sheriff. 2 deputies arrived, reviewed my deed, and ordered the group to disperse. Diane shouted, "The county will hear from us," as they retreated. That night, my cams caught 2 figures spray painting HOA forever on my fence. I sent the footage to the sheriff, but they called it misdemeanor vandalism without clear faces. I doubled down. Motion lights, night vision cams, QR-coded signs linking to my property map. This was war. Then came the fire. At 3 a.m., an orange glow woke me. My tool shed was ablaze, flames swallowing my ATVs, welder, and spare parts. The fire chief, a grizzled vet named Carl, pointed to the burn pattern. "Accelerant," he said. "Not electrical." I gave the sheriff my footage cameras cut out minutes before the blaze and a list of threats, including Diane's email. "Land isn't owned. It's shared. No arrests, but I wasn't waiting. I hired a security guy from Santa Fe, installed cloud uploading cams, and posted signs. Trespassing is a felony. This is not HOA property. The HOA didn't stop. New footage showed 3 hooded figures, one with bolt cutters, defacing a sign with shame. I recognized the limp Paul Grayson, an HOA activist I'd seen at a meeting. I turned the tape over, filed a criminal complaint for trespassing, vandalism, and suspected arson, and subpoenaed HOA financials. Diane's response, hand-delivered to my mailbox, was a jab. Your escalation saddens us. The trail is unity. We won't be intimidated. The courthouse, a drab concrete slab, became our battlefield. My lawyer, Ellen Reed, was a bulldog. She presented my 1890 deed, a surveyor's map showing the trail deep in my land, and a ranger's affidavit that the path, a 1970s logging road, was closed in 1995. Diane's lawyer, a slick guy named Victor Lyle, spun tales of community legacy. Ellen countered with satellite images. No trail until the HOA's 2023 construction. The judge, a dry-witted man named Hargrove, issued an injunction. No HOA access. All structures down in 10 days. The main trial was a circus. Local news ran ranch versus HOA. Trail tensions. Diane arrived in earth-toned scarves, flanked by supporters with reusable water bottles. Ellen hammered the timeline. Unauthorized trail building, vandalism, a $2,500 HOA payment for trail enhancements signed by Diane alone. Paul Grayson, sweating on the stand, admitted Diane, implied, they'd lose the trail without action. Diane doubled down. Nature is a human right. Ellen's retort was ice. You don't get to rewrite property law with feelings. The jury ruled unanimously, guilty of trespassing, vandalism, and negligence. I won $900,000 for damages, legal fees, and distress. The judge referred the arson to prosecutors and fined Diane for misusing HOA funds. She got 2 years in prison, eligible for parole in 14 months. The HOA faced a forced overhaul. Outside, Diane clutched her tote, dodging reporters. I said only. This was about respect. I finished it. The next dawn, I sipped coffee on my porch, free of dread. New fences rose steel, sensor-equipped, with a gate bearing a charred wood sign, private land no access. A plaque from the shed's melted frame read, this land was stolen. It's reclaimed. Respect the line. I tore down the HOA's bridges, burned their signs, and reseeded the slopes. The yoga platform became my deer blind. On my first ride through the reclaimed land, my mules grazed by the creek, unbothered. I invited friends for a private Redino public. No HOA, just earned silence. The HOA crumbled. Diane, on bond, left town. 3 board members quit. An auditor's letter apologized, but I filed it and moved on. At the ranch gate, I set a stone, respect land, or it teaches hard lessons. It's a warning and a promise. What do you think? Was Jack right to fight so fiercely, or did the HOA have a point about shared land? How far would you go to protect what's yours? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about justice, boundaries, and where violence fits in these battles. Your voice matters.